Happy Saturday, nerds. I am here with Beth Goldberg, and we just saw the play Annapurna at the Odyssey Theater, and we are very excited to talk about it. We basically had to not speak to each other on the car ride back over here because we didn't want to waste anything. Any of it. Yes, so we're bursting to talk about this play. The play was, like I said, at the Odyssey Theater, and it was starring Megan Mullally. I can't say her name, I don't know why. And Nick Offerman. I think it's Nick Offerman. I'm really glad you're here with me. I'm really glad.
The grammar corrector.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So, Annapurna, as I said, was our play. And I'm just going to say I thoroughly enjoyed that evening of theater.
I will 100% agree with you.
Yeah. It was intriguing from the minute that I sat down in that theater.
Well, that's because the first thing that we saw was Nick Offerman's butt.
And the first thing I thought was, how does he not have any cellulite? I hate him.
And all I could think of was that I was looking at Ron Swanson's butt. That's all I could think of.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, my thought about the cellulite was quickly followed by, oh my God, am I going to see his penis?
I know, I was waiting for it to pop out. I'm surprised you didn't underneath of that apron.
I'm really impressed. So either he was just, taped in there in such a way, somehow. Or he's really small.
You know, I don't think I think I noticed a little something. I feel very inappropriate talking about his penis right now.
Sorry, Nick.
So, aside from that,
actually, I think the first thing we really saw was the set.
Yes. Agreed.
And the set was designed by Thomas A. Walsh. I don't know.
That's all I know.
That's all I know. That's his name. His name is Thomas. It's a good name. And it was basically they had taken a little mobile trailer and cut it in half so that you could see into it.
So we were the fourth wall of the trailer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then behind it, through the windows and the door, you could see they had a projection of the Colorado Rockies, kind of in the back. I really think it was kind of simple genius.
I think it was. Yeah, I agree with you. I love really easy and very easy to work with sets like that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things we were talking about, is that we love the closeness of that kind of set and that kind of theater, because it feels way more intimate.
Right.
And you really kind of feel like you know those characters way more.
Yeah, exactly. And I do think it's interesting because it was kind of like a movie set, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could have popped a camera where we were sitting.
Easily.
And filmed it, which, since these are two very known television actors, Megan Mullally from Will and Grace and Nick Offerman from
Parks and Rec.
So, I kind of wonder if that played into his design at all, knowing that these were very, set-friendly actors.
It could have. It definitely could have. I wouldn't have actually ever thought about something like that. But yeah, I think it definitely could have.
Yeah. But, either way, it worked really wonderfully, and it was really interesting in that space.
Yeah, it was.
So I enjoyed the set a whole lot. Just kind of talking about the rhythm, though, I have to say, were you a little put off in the beginning? It was funny, but right in the beginning of the play, they'd kind of do a thing where it's they had the opening, and then it went to blackout. And then they had something, and then it went to blackout. And then something, and I thought it kind of felt like scene cuts in TV.
And I kind of... It actually didn't take me out of it at all, because later on I was wondering if it was going to happen again, and then when it didn't, I kind of just tried to understand what it was, and it was just a time lapse. Mm-hmm. And that's all it was. And I think it added to the joke, yes, because it was just editing.
Yes.
But I think that's all it was and I was okay with it because I understood that it was just the time lapse of all of that.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of what they would do in between that time to make that without the cut to black.
Right.
And it just wouldn't have made sense otherwise, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree. I totally see why they did it. And I do think that's a big trend right now in a lot of playwriting. You read a lot of scripts now, and you can see they're kind of written in a way that's similar to television or sitcom.
Right.
But I have to say that I much more enjoyed the play once that was done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was much more into it once they kind of stop playing with that cut.
Yeah, because I can see that, because they were just kind of setting up a joke at that point a little bit.
Yeah.
I definitely see that.
So, I mean, it felt like, and maybe this was just me kind of like, I didn't really realize who the actors were. Beth had a much better idea going in. And then I kind of realized that I knew her. But I haven't watched Parks and Recs, I know.
You should.
I know. But I haven't yet. I'm sorry. But I think that was in the back of my head that was who they were.
Yeah.
And so I kind of felt like, it felt a little bit, even though the beginning was great and it was funny, it felt a little bit like at the top of I Love Lucy, when they'd come in and it would be like, Lucy would come in and be like, yay! And then like Desmond would come in and it would be like, yay!
That's a really great thing to compare to, and I can completely see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, it kind of felt like that. Like, it was like, there's Nick Offerman, there's Megan Mullally, yay, black! It took me a minute. I mean, when we're about to talk about the acting, like, they definitely had me, I gave them a standing O, and I wouldn't have done that if I didn't feel it. But they totally earned every bit of my attention. But right off the top, I felt a little like they didn't need that.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
I can definitely see what you're talking about.
I mean, it was fun, and there was nothing wrong with the choice. But I guess, at the end of the day, I want people to trust theater. And sometimes I feel like we don't trust it, and so we put ourselves in this competition with television and film all the time, and we don't need to. It doesn't need to be there.
Well, it's like you were saying. I mean, some people just don't. I mean, we're so comfortable watching a movie for 2.5 hours, whereas people aren't comfortable sitting at the theater for that amount of time.
Right.
Even when there's an intermission and you get a break, you still realize how long you've been there, and it's a mental challenge rather than it is when you go to the movies.
Right. And I'm not really sure why that is, like why that's any different. But
it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be, but it does. It does feel different. For some reason, it feels longer in a theater. Yeah. Even though I love it, but I know,
I'll always prefer the theater.
Yeah, exactly.
Spending 3 hours in the theater than 2 hours in the movie theater.
Yeah, exactly. Although I haven't sat in a theater show for 3 hours, and
I haven't sat through. I've done an intermission. Oh, no, I take that back. They've been like 2 hours. Yeah? 2.5 hours at most, probably. I'm thinking more like musicals.
Yeah, musicals, definitely. Yeah, that sticks out, that those go a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And then I saw, okay, that's another. Stick it on this show. Okay.
This is what happens when we don't talk in the car on the way home.
Exactly. So, we kind of started talking a little bit about the acting.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
So good.
It was so, so good. And I think it got a little bit of a start, and it might have been my perception. The start, I wasn't fully feeling it.
I agree.
But then when they got there, which they got there pretty quick, it was so, so good.
I have to say, I think she did an incredible job. For me personally, he stole the show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He was incredible.
And I think it also has to do with the roles that they were given. Like, his role required so much more. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say that. I think her role required just as much, but he had a little bit more of a character to play, so he was more interesting to watch, I think, for that reason. He
had the added physical challenge of playing a character who's has emphysema, and lost his lungs. Mm-hmm. So he had an air tank in the nose breathing, and he did such a good job with that.
Oh, God, you could even see it in, I don't know if you remember the moment when he just had her, when she was hot, and he had her sit down, and he just went to the fridge, and there was just this pause of silence where he walked to the fridge, and this man is very frail, and he walks to the fridge and gets a Diet Coke and very, politely folds up a paper napkin and then wraps it around her, and it's just this long moment of silence when he's doing all of that, and that moment almost kind of made me cry. Yeah. Just the sweetness of this man. Yeah. And anybody that can do that just by getting a freaking Diet Coke out of the fridge, it's a good actor.
Yeah, I mean, the love and the chemistry there, but on top of it, the layers of hurt that those characters had from each other was so evident and so well played. I mean, the timing with things was so... I mean, I really felt like I was watching two actors who really knew how to take technique and use it well. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see the technique at all in Nick.
You didn't see them trying. Oh, God. Yeah. In either one of them, there were so many moments that both of them just came to tears like that.
Yeah.
And there wasn't even, you didn't see them trying. It was just all in their preparation and all in the relationship, and it was incredible.
Yeah. But I have to say that I think not only are they great actors, but they were handed an incredible script.
Oh, yeah. I completely agree with that. I actually was watching that and thinking how much I would love to play a part like that.
Yeah. I mean, the dialogue was so well written. It was so witty. It was so...
and it's so true to life when in the midst of drama you have comedic moments.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that that's so incredible. And his humor is so amazing to me. The fact that he's just so dry and just so witty, and there's no effort. There's no effort in what he does. Mm-hmm. It's just there in his being and his manner. Oh God, he's just incredible.
And even though it was kind of he's not like the man you sit there and dream about seeing standing, bare ass with an apron on. But even then, he's so lovable.
He
I
was.
loved him within 3 minutes.
I really did too. And what they piled onto him, thinking that he's not really a lovable character, the fact that he was an alcoholic, the fact that she walked out on him because he did something that was unheard of, that we don't find out what it is until the end. Mm-hmm. You kind of pile these things on that he's not really a good person, and she ended up leaving him, but there's no way that you can, oh God, he just, you can't not love him. Mm-mm. You can't.
No.
But you love her as well, and that's what's so interesting about their dynamic, is that both of these characters you love so much, but they are at each other's throats and they hate each other, and it's weird to love two characters equally that don't like each other.
Right. And yet love each other. And they did a really good job of not liking, but loving each other. I mean, they totally brought to life that whole statement of, I love you, but I don't like you very much right now.
Oh, God, so much, yeah.
They played that so well. And, the play was written by Shar White. Do you think it's Shar or Cher?
I think that sounds right, Shar.
Shar. Shar White, Sharr, White, the color white.
Mm-hmm.
He just had so many just great little phrases. They talk about,
so much.
I love you so much, my tongue hurts. Was this phrase in there, and it gets referred. It's something that her character said to Ulysses, Nick's character, when they were first falling in love, and it just was so. It's so something that character would say. It didn't even sound as cliche as it might sound just hearing us repeat it right now.
It does actually when we say it.
I know.
Yeah.
But and then the ending, the Annapurna, the title of the play, comes from a poem that Ulysses, Nick's character, wrote based on the story about an expedition climbing the mountain range, or the mountain, Annapurna. Did you follow that? And the play ends with Ulysses reciting from this poem that he's written, and it was beautiful. I was like, please tell me that's really an epic poem, because I want to read it.
Oh, God,
it was so beautiful. And when he's reading it, and he's sitting up in a stool, and she is crouched down on the ground to listen, and you can tell that she's loving hearing this man and his
she's
talent.
Melting and
she's melting.
Her walls are breaking down.
But I was sitting there and I was like, hug his knee. Hug his knee.
I totally was thinking the same thing.
And she did it. He's wearing these total hick, cut off, dirty jean shorts. But I just wanted her to embrace him. And she did, and I was so happy.
Yeah,
I was like, yay!
Know. And I love that it ends that, very, very open-ended, and it's open to interpretation. What happens with their relationship and what happens with the characters.
Yes.
And I love those ones when there's no solid ending.
Right.
It lets our imagination kind of run wild.
Right. Yeah. You can imagine all kinds of endings for those characters. I was thinking on our ride when we weren't talking about this that they had such really good chemistry, and then you told me they're married.
That they're married in real life, yeah.
And I was like, well, that makes sense. But although I have to say there are some married people that I don't think have any chemistry at all. I'm like, how are they married? But these guys just, man, I could tell that they were loving what they were doing and that they were loving doing it together.
Yeah.
It was...
Well, I think, if I'm correct, and don't quote me on this one, but I think they met in theater. So it's almost kind of they're going back to their roots.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a sweet story.
Yeah, which is really awesome. Thank you for Beth suggested the play,
I
and
did.
I am so happy to have.
Well, I'm such a huge fan of both of them, and then when you, I mean, oh god, I love both of those both of those shows, and then when you throw them in a play like this together,
Yeah.
and then you make the tickets very affordable.
Yes.
100%, I'm gonna go.
Yes, exactly. We are going to talk a little bit about the Odyssey as far as that goes.
That was me trying to make a segue.
You're right. I was like, but wait. I just want to throw one thing in there really fast, though. They didn't really. Theater is usually pretty big these days on using music, which I'm generally a fan of because I love music. I really liked the not use of it in this play until the very, very end. Finally, some music came in, and it was good. It was well placed. Although, again, I think they should have trusted the actors. I don't think they needed it.
I think that this play was beautiful in its simplicity, and I think when they added the music in there, if I recall, it was just at 2 parts.
Yeah, it was just at the end. It kind of took us through the very end, basically.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I agree. I think that it wasn't necessary, but I do think it... I mean, I see where they were trying to go with it.
Sure,
almost like the trail off and
yeah.
enhance it, yeah. And almost like the music starts and then, the play ends and it's like a continuation of their life. But I think that you're right. I think that they probably could have done without it. And because a lot of the most beautiful moments were the moments when there was just complete silence.
Exactly. Those actors used silence so well. They knew exactly how long to stay there.
Yep.
And when to come out.
And it's a good thing because a lot of actors don't trust silence.
Yeah.
They think that something always has to be being said or done, and even when there's silence, there's so much going on still, especially in this one.
It's true. It's true. I had a director, one of our directors in grad school. We were working on a play, and he asked one of the actors in the play to trust silence and use it. And I remember that actor. I love him to death, but he hated that direction. He hated that piece of direction. But you know what? The director was so right about it. And we did the play at competition, and one of the notes that came back from the judges was how much they appreciated that silence.
That's awesome.
Because it can be so powerful, and it was a good lesson to learn. Although I would hope to be able to use it as well as they did. But those guys were pros.
I mean, I think it's almost like a crutch when you have to cling to dialogue, and not just dialogue. Like a lot of the times, people feel like they need to throw stuff in there or
sounds.
Yeah. Like it's a crutch.
Yeah.
But it's just trusting yourself and trusting the words and trusting the situation and the relationship and everything.
Yeah.
And there's so much because real life. There's always moments. There's always pauses and always silences, and you just have to trust it.
Well, especially between two people who really know and appreciate and love one another. I think I always say that's part of the way you're really good friends with someone or really in a good relationship is when you can have silence. So this play having these 2 characters who obviously have so much about each other in them, it was perfect for them to use that kind of silence.
I think so too.
So yes. So going back to your say, sorry that I interrupted it. So the Odyssey Theater, they didn't have a lot about their mission and stuff in the pamphlets that they handed out. But they did say something that I thought was really great. They said, that they have a mission to put on ambitious plays and at affordable prices. And you know what? I think the script was very ambitious. In the sense of just, trusting a 2-person show for 90 minutes with no intermission. And it totally deserved that trust. But also, our tickets were only $30.
And to see a play like that, number 1, with actors like that, number 2, that's, I mean, I've seen really bad theater for more than that.
Yeah.
So I would, hands down, I would go I would go there again.
It was, of course, they didn't have a huge set and stuff like that, so I'm sure the budget, that always helps, but it seems like they do that with all their shows. They really try, and I applaud a theater. They're a nonprofit theater, but I applaud a theater that does that, because it's more people are going to see a show if they're not paying $50 to $100. We were on the 3rd row.
We really were close. Yeah. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, we were on the 3rd row. I mean, I could almost see his penis. So,
in fact, you may have.
In fact, I may have. So,
I think also it adds to, the integrity of a show when you can just rely on... Wait, I had a thought that you were saying that I was gonna trail off of it.
But there wasn't a lot of like whistles with this show. It was simple.
Yes.
Simplicity. Is that what you were going
I think that's what I was going with it. Yeah, and it just adds to the integrity of theater when you don't need something huge and big and like something like that to draw people.
Mm-hmm.
You're okay with just a small set and 2 actors and just a really great script.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which, you know what, for all the great acting, I have to say that maybe I think that really was the star of the show, was the script being so good.
Well, I mean, no matter how good of an actor you are, if the script is bad,
it's hard to
it's
say
going to be bad.
Yeah,
exactly.
Saving a crappy script is...
And I mean, the fact that, because they kept on that one through line the whole way of, like what he did before she left. And they kept me on the edge of my seats the whole entire way. I'm like, I know they're going to say it. I know they're going to tell us, but I cannot wait. I can't wait to find out what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, and his reaction when she told him.
Yeah.
I cried.
I did too. I'm surprised it took me that long, but I did.
I know. I almost cried so many times. And then I was like, I'm done. I can't.
Oh, God.
But also, it's a guy. I cannot watch a guy cry without crying.
Because it just never happens.
I know. A guy cries, and I'm just like,
so
something is really wrong in the world when a man is crying. Not saying that I don't think men should. I do think men should cry. I'm just realizing that you don't do it very often. And when
they're
you do
not
it,
so
there's
open
usually
about
something
doing
really
it.
wrong. Yes.
They don't do it in public.
I mean, most people are not as open about crying as me in general. But I was really glad when I heard you sniffling next to me. I was like, thank God.
I was trying to
I'm
hide
not the only one. I think there was a few people in the audience.
I don't know how you couldn't. At least all the women had to be.
We were all like melty city.
Oh, he was just so endearing and so sweet.
Yes. Oh man, and when he realizes what he did. And I just thought about the sadness of that. You know, I've known alcoholics, and as much as people get frustrated at someone who's an alcoholic for the things that they do, and not that they should be excused for doing them, but at the same, can you imagine doing something and not remembering it
and then having the rest of your life? Yeah.
What a horrible. I can't imagine it.
I actually don't even want to imagine it.
No, I don't either. So one thing I kind of wanted us to talk about was this idea of celebrity with celebrity. You know, that we were seeing, because my last show I saw was kind of a more indie kind of theater, you know, and this play had some big deals, you know, with the 2 actors that were in it. And I wasn't sure how I felt about that at first, because I was like, you know, I understand that big names put butts in the seats, and that theater can only survive with butts in the seats. But at the same time, does using celebrity to put butts in the seat help the pocketbook but hurt the art form? And that was a question that I've been rolling around in my head as we've, you know, come up to see this. And, you know, and actually both times that I've seen shows that had a celebrity cast, I saw After Miss Julie off Broadway with Sienna Miller and Johnny Lee Miller.
Ooh.
Yeah, and, you know, they were great. And they were wonderful on stage. And tonight, they were wonderful on stage. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not making a statement about talent, because I think they, without a doubt, have talent to be on the stages. But I do, as like a struggling, you know, actor who can't even get the opportunity to get the opportunity.
Right.
I'm like, how do I feel about celebrity on stage? You know,
that they're taking their jobs in every avenue there is, in commercials,
like,
in
don't
everything
you have
that
enough?
we could have done. And now we don't even have those opportunities anymore.
I know. Yeah. So I don't know. I did knowing that, because I know watching it, it took me a minute to let them win me, because I wanted to be like, subconsciously it was hard for me to be really open to them, because I was like, well, here's these famous people like taking a break from their thousands of dollars per episode to do some theater, you know, the luxury to get to do some theater. It took me a minute. I wasn't as open as maybe I would normally be. How were you?
I mean, I can definitely say, not to take away from their performance, because as we just discussed, it was incredible. But to be fair, we do live in a town where there is a lot of undiscovered talent, and I do think that given the opportunity to 2 other people that weren't celebrities, I do think they could have brought something just as wonderful to it. I personally would not have gone to see this show had I not seen that it was these 2 people.
Right.
So I can understand both ways, like as a director, especially in a program or a company like this, where it is nonprofit, and you do need people to get in the seats. I can see why you would want to get celebrities.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I totally understand the practicality of it, but I think the whole idea, and not to knock you at all, but I hate the whole idea of, like, the fact that people, that now we've been spoiled to being able to see celebrities on stage, and I feel like it's trained a lot of people to only go see
want
shows
to see that.
if there's a celebrity on
there
the
are
stage.
snobby theater people, and they will only see very high level, high caliber, big productions or stuff like this, where they will only see people that are names instead of just branching out and being willing to go see something because the project looks good, because the story looks good.
Right, because, it's kind of scary, it's like, if people had had that mentality when Marilyn Monroe was Norma Jean, Norma Jean would have never become Marilyn Monroe, it's like, how many people are not, how many greats are unknowns because producers
aren't willing to branch out of what they're comfortable with.
Right, well, or what makes their pocketbooks fat.
Which is what they're comfortable with.
Touche. Touche. So we're watching celebrities on stage, both a little bit, I guess, conflicted about how we feel about that, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I am conflicted.
I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I mean, for this one specifically, no, because I love the two of them so much.
No, and they were so good. It's hard to be conflicted when they're so good.
Yeah, but I can definitely see the frustration when we only have so many opportunities, and now we don't even have those anymore because even celebrities are taking those jobs that, if we can't do theater anymore, come on.
I know. Although, like, I'm okay with Megan Mullally having that role because we're both too young for it anyway.
Well, yeah, exactly. So at least for this play specifically, it wasn't a problem.
It wasn't a problem. It wasn't my role she was taking.
The second it's a role that you could play, that's when we have a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, by the way, I just want to say something about her. Her voice was not... she definitely still had her interesting voice, but it didn't take over anything she was doing, and I was wondering about that when we
I think that's just her voice. I think she just has a very high-pitched voice.
But I didn't really think about it. She ups it in
She does,
She
much
really
more.
does. It was very just quirky in this, so...
Yeah, it didn't take me out of it in any way.
No.
And even Ron Offerman, oh my god, I'm sorry, because it was Ron Swanson and Nick Offerman.
Yeah.
Even Nick Offerman, I heard some of like what I'm used to hearing, but he had a little accent that separated the two of what I'm used to.
Right. And
nice.
To me, I was just like, oh, it's a Southern man.
An unknown.
Because I don't know him. It was an unknown for me.
God, please watch that show. It's so
I know.
funny.
I
And
will.
he is my favorite character.
There's just lots of good TV right now.
I know.
Okay, and sorry, we obviously rabbit trails. And then the other thing about celebrity with this I thought was interesting is we were watching celebrities with celebrities. So that was a little bit of an interesting thing to be sitting in the audience and have people walk through the door and be like, I've seen them. It wasn't anybody I could be like, oh, that's so-and-so. But it was still like, I know that I've seen them in stuff.
Which also might contribute to why they cast celebrities, because it even draws
other celebrities. Yeah. It did kind of have a different... I felt like the energy in the theater was a little different. Like, it was a different kind of theater-going experience for me just based on the energy. The energy felt a little bit like... impressed me. A little bit, to me, it felt that way. Maybe I was, again,
people
projecting,
go in with some kind of an idea, or they expect something because it's...
Right.
Two
because
celebrities.
Stars. So let's see how these stars do on stage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because, we were talking about before the play, there's always this idea of that, screen actors can't do stage and stage actors can't do screen. And I was telling Beth, like, to me that's really confusing because acting is, living believably in an imaginary situation. So that shouldn't matter, on what space you're in. The difference is more space, usually with theater, and you have to hit a mark on camera.
Right.
But that shouldn't change your acting.
You just have to adjust your surroundings.
Right. That you just, you're just using your technique to serve whichever venue you're performing in. So, I don't really know how to do that nicely. Acting is...
I think that was good.
Yeah. acting is acting. Whether you're on stage or on screen. And whether they're on stage or on screen, those two actors did an incredible job with an incredible playwright, a great set design. If you're in LA, the show is running into June. You definitely should go check it out. Again, really, if we're third row, $30, you know, so very affordable for theater. Do yourself a favor and go see Annapurna.
Dawn and Beth give it 2 thumbs up.
4
thumbs up.
4 thumbs up. Yes, and I would love it if you finish watching this on Theatrical with a Nerd and want to give us 4 thumbs up as well. Likes. That would be awesome. Like us.
That's funny.
Please. All right. Well, good night, everybody, and I'll see you with our next talk back in a month. Bye.
Bye.